Hi, I'm Tia. Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to share with you 8 books that I have recently read. Okay, so I have not been doing great with filming what I've been reading lately. I have a ton of books that I have read over the past couple of months and I have not talked about. I'm not sure how I'm going to handle that. If from now on, I'm not gonna talk about every single book that I read. I'm not sure how I'm gonna handle that, but yeah. So here are gonna be just 8 books that I have read recently that I still remember enough to tell you about. So the first one that I want to mention is Anne of Ingleside by Ellen Montgomery. This is the 6th book in the Anne of Green Gables series, and this is the one that we read during the month of June for the Anne-along that I'm hosting with Amanda. I will leave a link to our Goodreads group down in the description box if you would like to jump in and join us. I definitely think that these are quick enough reads that you can catch up if you would like to, if that's something that you're interested in. But this book follows Anne. She's all grown up and she has 5 kids, 6 kids. I can't remember how many kids she has at this point. Maybe it's only 4. I'm sorry, I can't remember. So this one basically follows different stories for different, each of the different children. They get their own little sections. You get to learn more about each of their personalities and the things that they are going through. It was a really sweet book. I loved learning about Anne as a grown-up and her family life and all of her children and seeing what they are getting up to. I am assuming that you probably know who she is married to, but I won't say it just in case it's a spoiler. You do get to see him in this book, but not as much as I would have liked. I would love to have seen more of him and more of their relationship together. Towards the end, there is a little bit more of them together, and you get to see them sort of reassure each other of their love. But I definitely wish that there had been more of that. I feel like when I started this series, I sort of thought that they were like this epic love story and that we would get to see a ton of their relationship. And I definitely think that more of that was in the beginning books, like 1 through 3. And now that they're older, you don't really get to see them together that much. I still really love both of them as a character, and I thought this was a great book, and I'm very glad that I read it. It's probably one of my more favorite ones. I feel like my journey with Anne has been sort of up and down on my enjoyment levels. The main issue that I had with this book is that there was a pretty large focus on weight and beauty, and there was a lot of talk about gaining weight and not gaining weight, and if that was a good thing. Well, obviously in this book it's definitely portrayed as being a bad thing to gain weight as you get older, and it was just too much for me. I started to get pretty aggravated with some of Anne's thoughts about getting older and gaining weight, and the way that she thought about other characters who were doing those things. I think if I calculated correctly that Anne would have been 40 in this book. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like based on the time that they got married, the age that they were, by the end of this book, I think she would be 40, because I think she got married when she was 25, and I think at the end of this she says they've been married for 15 years. But you can definitely correct me if you know better. Yeah. So I do recommend this series as a whole. I think that it is wholesome and entertaining, but definitely go in there knowing that there are some, I don't know, like self-image issues, and maybe not even self-image issues, because I think that Anne still thinks that wonderful things about herself, but she thinks a lot about other women, and I don't really like the way that that's portrayed. So yeah. I also finished I Capture the Castle this month in June, and this is by Dodie Smith. This book I read with a group of ladies for the I Capture the Castle read-along. That was Angie and Rainey and Emily from Novelle Novels also read along with us as well. There were several other people who joined in with us on our Instagram chat, and I just had a blast reading along with all of them. Angie created a wonderful bingo card of different activities that went along with the book that we were able to do during the week, and it was just a lot of fun. This book follows a young woman named Cassandra whose family is living in this crumbling down castle that they have gotten on like a very long lease. Like, I want to say 40 years, but it could have been shorter than that. Her father has written this really well-known and beloved novel many years ago, but they have long ago spent all the money from it, and they are expecting him, hoping that he will write another novel and give them more money to live on. But at this point, they are struggling to have enough to eat, to have clothes to wear, and the house is basically just falling down around them. So Cassandra is writing this all in a journal, and you get to see everything happening through her eyes. I really enjoyed Cassandra as the narrator. I enjoyed the other characters in the book. There is a young man named Stephen who works for them. He's lived with them his whole entire life, and he's sort of like, he works around the house and the farm and everything for them, but they don't actually pay him. But he is probably, well, he's my favorite character in the book. He's just a really sweet, wonderful character. The older sister, Rose, is coming of age where she wants to get married and she wants to get away from the poverty that she's living in. And a new family moves in to the house up the road, which is actually the estate that they are renting the castle from. And the man that they have been renting to has passed away, and so the estate and the castle has all passed on to this other person, and they are worried that this new man moving in is going to kick them out. And so basically from there you get to follow along as they meet this new family that has moved in, figure out whether or not they're going to kick them out or what the ties are going to be like between the two families. I don't want to tell you much more than that, but there is definitely a bit of angst in here. There's a lot of talk about relationships between family members, responsibilities that you have to your family members, new love, young love, growing up. It was a really atmospheric, well-written novel that I really enjoyed reading. I definitely think that reading it with a group enhanced the experience, and I probably would not have gotten as much out of it if I had been reading it alone. There was some icky moments that happened that I can't tell you about without ruining the novel. That was the biggest downside to me, that there was a couple of characters who I felt like made really bad decisions, which sort of brought down everything for me. But in the end, I was really happy with the way everything turned out. I think that it was the right ending for the book, and I like to write my own sequel in my mind and think about what's happened next for these characters. But I definitely recommend this book if you haven't already read it and you're interested in it. I think that this is considered a modern classic. This was written in 1948, and Dodie Smith was writing about a time period that was slightly before when she was writing it. But this is a book that is definitely still popular, that I think a lot of people read. I think it has stood the test of time, so I would recommend it. But there is a movie out, and I think it's on Amazon Prime. Hopefully it's still there since the last time I checked, but I haven't gotten a chance to watch it yet. I definitely want to, because Henry Cavill, is it Cavill? Cavill? I don't know. Okay. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. He plays Stephen, who is my favorite character, and yeah. Go read this if you haven't already and come back and discuss. So, then the last physical copy that I have here to share with you that I recently read this month is Human Body Theater by Maris Wicks. So this is a book that I have been reading with my kids for a while. We've been reading different sections here and there. We've been reading through this for a while, and we finally finished it during the month of June. But this is a nonfiction graphic novel that's all about the human body, and each section is about a different part of the human body. It goes from the skeletal system to the muscular system to the endocrine system, to the respiratory system. I'm not telling you them in order, but anyway, here's an example, guts. So this is about the digestive system and everything about it. It even has a section about the reproductive system, which I thought was really great. I'm always on a lookout for things that explain the different parts of the body in a and the way that they work in a manner that is interesting for kids as well as informative, and I think that this was perfect for this. It was fun and engaging, and they were always asking to read more. Every time we read a section, they wanted to keep going, and I think it's one that we will be able to reference back and they will be able to continue enjoying on their own now that we've read it together. So if you have kids, I really think that this is good for any age. I mean, teens may think that they're too old or cool for this type of thing, but I think even teens could benefit from this book because it had so much information in it. Me as an adult, I even benefited from this book, and my kids range in age from 6 to 13, and they all absolutely loved it. So I highly recommend this one. Okay, then the rest of the books I have to talk about I read on my Kindle, so I will have to pop in pictures of these to tell you about. And the first one is The AI Who Loved Me by Alyssa Cole. So this is a science fiction romance, I guess you would say. This is following a woman named Trinity Jordan, who you sort of get glimpses that something has happened in the past for this place that she used to work called The Hive. And you don't really find out everything that's gone on until the end. It's sort of like a bit of a mystery. But she is working from home right now because something has happened in her past at work that has made her have to work at home. She is good friends with one of her neighbors who is like an older woman, and this friend has recently had her nephew move in with her, and his name is Lee Wei. And Lee Wei and Trinity have like a connection right from the beginning. Trinity is sort of like really intrigued by him. He's very different, but just interesting to her. And they gradually get to know each other, and I'm sure that you can guess what she discovers about him based on the title and the cover. But anyway, this was so interesting to me. I love science fiction novels. This one had a little bit of romance in it, and it definitely went places that I didn't expect it to. It had twists and turns. It was 126 pages, and I feel like so much was packed into the story. I really love this. I love books about AI. This is supposed to be having a sequel, and I'm really hoping that happens because I loved this book. I sort of want to go ahead and reread it right now. It was that good, and I wish more people would read it so that I can talk to you about it. So if you've read this, message me so we can chat about this. Yeah, I definitely recommend this book. I love Alyssa Cole's writing. There's something very addictive and immersive about it, and it's hard to stop reading. You want to just keep reading the whole thing. So yeah, I definitely recommend this one if you are into AI and science fiction with a little bit of romance. Okay, then another book that I want to mention is Sugar Daddy by Lisa Kleypas. This is a book that I read back in May as a buddy read with Chloe from Always Booked. And this is a book that I've had on my Kindle for quite a long time, and I am not sure why I didn't read it. I sometimes forget about the books that are on my Kindle. I forget to read them. So I was so glad to see that Chloe was about to read it, and we decided to buddy read it together. So this book is the first in the Travis family trilogy. It may be 4 books, I'm not sure, but this one follows Liberty, and this one definitely has romantic elements, although I wouldn't say that they are the main focus of the book. For me, this definitely focused more on Liberty as a person and her journey and what made her who she is. It starts from when she is a child at the beginning of the book. Before the action of the book, her father has passed away, so you get to see what it's like for her to just live with a single mom throughout the story, and lots of things happen to them as a family, and you get to see how that affects her and her growth as a person, because by the end of the book she is in her mid-20s, I believe. So I feel like I can't tell you too much about this other than that. because it is sort of a slow moving progression. It's very saga-ish to me, the way it follows her life and all these characters that you get to meet throughout the way. I felt like this was really well written, and I absolutely loved the characters. I loved Liberty, the main character. She was such a strong female character. She went through so much, and she just really stuck it out for herself and her family and what she believed in. And yeah, the romance happens later in the book, and I was definitely here for the romance. Now, don't let the title of this book scare you away. I was worried that this was going to be all about like a sugar daddy romance, and it's not that. It's not like what you would generally think of as a sugar daddy is not what's happening here. Me and Chloe definitely were discussing that, like, what did you think sugar daddy was going to mean? Or are you surprised? Like, is there going to be a sugar daddy part? It definitely doesn't happen until later in the book, and it's not really what you think it's going to be. So don't let the title scare you off. This is really a great book. It was so well written, and I really can't wait to read the rest of the series. Okay, and then the final 3 books are ones that I read through NetGalley, and they have all already come out. So if you were interested in reading any of these 3, you don't have to wait for them. They are already ready for you to purchase. And the first one is The Boyfriend Project by Farah Roshan. This one follows Samaya, who is a tech genius. She's really a strong woman who knows what she wants out of her career. She's very driven, and she is doing all that she can to stay on top of the game. Because she is a woman and she is a woman of color, she knows that she has to work twice as hard as the men in her field to get what she wants and where she wants to be in her career. The start of the novel is about her and this guy that she has been dating. She discovers through like a live Twitter feed that he is on a date with another woman at this restaurant that they were actually supposed to be going to. And then she discovers that not only has he been dating this other woman, he's been dating a third woman as well, and they all meet up, and there's like this explosive confrontation between the 3 of them. So she immediately has suffered this huge public breakup that goes viral. Everyone knows about it. But the good thing that comes out of this is that she becomes really good friends with the other 2 women that her boyfriend, I guess you would say, has also been dating. So that was one of the best parts about this novel for me, was the female friendships that developed through this. I love to see the 3 women working together, and I think that the other 2 women are going to get their own stories in this series, if I'm not mistaken. And so I'm really looking forward to their stories. Basically, these 3 new friends decide to come up with the boyfriend project, where they are going to put aside dating and relationships and focus on things that they want to do for themselves for like the next, I'm not sure how long the time period was. And they all agree to this, but Samaya, of course, ends up meeting someone at work and is sort of conflicted because she's made this agreement with her friends to hold true to the boyfriend project, and then she doesn't know what to do because she's feeling, she keeps feeling stronger and stronger feelings for this guy at work. So my main issue with this is that it was a bit slow. I felt like it had pacing issues. The beginning started off great with a bang. It was really interesting. The middle sort of lagged, and then the end picked up to finish up and wrap everything all together. It just had a little bit of a problem in the middle with the action. Just didn't flow as well as the beginning and the end. And then my other big thing is that I didn't really like the main male lead. He seemed like a great guy, but essentially he was lying to Samaya the whole entire time during the book. He wasn't lying about his entire life, but he was lying about a large portion of it, which really bugs me. I hate when relationships start off with lies. I feel like if they're starting with lies, that it's hard to overcome that in the future as far as trust goes. Like, how do you know if you can ever trust this person? Obviously that's my own trust issues, and if you don't feel that way, then you will probably absolutely love this book because the writing is great, the main woman is great, the friendships are great. So if you don't have a problem with lying and trust issues, then jump on this book. And even if you do, I definitely recommend trying it out. It was still a really great book. It's just that by the end, I felt like Samaya deserved better than the main guy character. I sort of wanted her to just ditch him and go with someone else entirely. But that's my own hangups. If you don't mind the main character being lied to, I mean, he definitely apologizes and at the end, but to me, it still bugged me. I am looking forward to the second book in the series, and the other two characters, one of them is a doctor and the other one is like a fitness instructor. I'm really hoping the next book is the doctor, but I'm not sure which character gets the second book in the series. Then the next book that I read is another NetGalley arc, Killer Chardonnay by Kate Lansing. So this follows a young woman whose dream has been to open her own winery in Boulder, Colorado. And her name is Parker Valentine. This is the first in the Colorado wine mystery series. And Parker Valentine has just opened Vino Valentine. She's trying to get it off of the ground. And on opening night, this critic who's like a really well-known critic, but who gives really bad reviews a lot of the time, and his reviews can make or break you essentially. So he shows up on her opening night and she serves him his wine, and next thing you know, he gets up to go to the bathroom. He's looking like he doesn't feel well, and when she goes to check on him because he hasn't come out in a while, he is there dead in the bathroom. So of course this looks terrible on Parker. She's worried because she feels like she's not only going to be a suspect, but that her brand new business that she has poured all this money into is going to end up flopping. And she also really just wants to know who's the person who killed this critic. Even though she's been told to stay out of everything and let the police do the detective work, she gets involved in trying to discover who is the culprit here. So this book, I think this is Kate Lansing's debut book, and it was really well written. It was a lot of fun. I loved that it was set in a winery. There was a lot of talk about food and wine. The main character was a really fun, engaging character. There was a hint at a love triangle, which totally doesn't bother me. But by the end, I think they had sort of worked out who she was going to end up with. Although, for me, I feel like she ended up with the wrong person, but that's just me. You get to see lots of relationship building with her parents as well as her brother. She has really great friends in the book. There's several different suspects that she gets to investigate. And I just felt like it was really interesting. If you are thinking about trying out the cozy mystery genre, I definitely think that this is a great place to start. I really have nothing bad to say about this book at all. I did guess who the culprit was from pretty early on in the book, which doesn't bother me at all. I mean, it's not like I was like 100% sure that this is who it's going to be. It was just, that was who my guess was, and it turned out to be the right guess at the end, which totally doesn't bother me. It didn't bother me at all that that's who I guessed, because, you know, I was second guessing myself here and there. But anyway, definitely check this one out. I think the next book in the series is going to come out soon, and I will definitely be continuing on with this series as well. Okay, and then the last book that I have to talk about is A Call for Kelp, and this is another cozy mystery that was written by Bree Baker, and it is the fourth book in the Seaside Cafe mystery series. So I hadn't actually read the other books in this series, and I didn't think that that took away from this at all. I would like to go back and start from the beginning because I thought that this one was really good and I want to see more from the characters. But this one follows a woman named Everly Swan, who has moved back home to a small town where she grew up in, and she has opened up this like tea bar, I think is what you call it. Basically they sell like different flavored teas, and they also sell like some desserts and light snacks and appetizers and some sandwiches and stuff. There was a lot of talk about food and teas, and this book really made me hungry and thirsty. I love books that talk about food. I'm not sure why, but anyway, in this book, Everly's aunts are beekeepers, and they've been working with someone to make a documentary about beekeeping, and to bring more awareness to this documentary, they have invited in Mitzi Callaghan to speak at the opening of the fundraiser. And Mitzi Callaghan is like this like older actress who was really famous when she was younger for starring in a science fiction movie franchise, and so everyone knows who she is. Well, at the beginning, when she is just about to get on stage to speak, she is found dead in a pretty gruesome manner, and so this of course has kind of put a halt to the documentary, and everyone is trying to figure out who has done it. Everly, of course, is mixed up in everything. She wants to know who has killed Mitzi, because Mitzi Callaghan was like one of her grandmother's best friends, and actually one of Everly's best friends' dads is one of the prime suspect because he was a huge Mitzi Callaghan fan. Of course, Everly is not supposed to be involved in the investigation. She's been warned over and over to stay away, but she keeps coming back to try and figure out different clues, and she keeps getting involved in the investigation. So I did really like this cozy mystery as well. I think this is another one that if you were looking to try out cozy mysteries, I would definitely give this one a try. Like I said, I plan on going back and reading the first in the series because I really enjoyed Everly as a character, and I would like to learn more about her. There is a little bit of a romance in this one, which I totally loved as well. I loved getting to hear more about their relationship as it is beginning to grow, and the aunts were really a lot of fun. I had so much fun getting to know them through the story as well. Yeah, so if you are looking for like a mystery that's set around a food theme backdrop with a touch of romance and some really fun kooky aunts, I would definitely give this one a try. Let me know down in the comments below if you have read any of these books or if you are interested in reading any of them. I would love to hear that as well. Be sure to follow me on Instagram and Goodreads if you would like to keep up with what I have been reading, and that way I can find out what you've been reading as well. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you are all doing well and staying safe, and I'll see you next time.